Ooh, hey guys, Magnus Robert here. We're going to do another tier list today, and today we're going to be doing this minor characters. We're going to be ranking minor characters. So these are characters who are not main cast Bill. I mean, some of these I disagree with putting on in minor, but whatever. I'm going to roll with it. Now, this was made by the beautiful, the lovely, the loyal Red Lemon Cola, okay? A loyal subscriber of mine, so big up shout, big up Red Lemon Cola. Okay, he's been on the channel for a while. Okay, he's a loyal fan. So today, yeah, like I said, we're gonna be ranking them. Let's just get into it. So starting off, we've got Addy. Now Addy, I think is pretty meh. Oh, forgot to explain the thing. So we've got top tier minor character, which is obviously like these are the best minor characters. Solid, that means pretty good. Decent, decent. Meh, kind of meh. Garbage, and I added this one. Wasn't one in the original. Should have been cut. Okay, these are the ones that I think should never even have been there to begin with. And then finally we got barely recognized, which I changed. I think they changed the wording. Don't recognize. I changed it to barely recognized because I think I went through all these and I'm pretty sure I recognize all of them, but I don't. Yeah. Now I might not know all the names. Now I am the king of making minor characters, but even I forgot some of the names of some of these characters. So yeah, Addy I'm gonna put in meh, just because I don't think she's garbage, but then at the same time I don't know if I'd go as far to say she's decent. She's just kind of I don't care for her either way. She served her purpose. There we go. Now we've got Agatha. Agatha is again just like Addy, pretty meh. She's fine. She's there. She dies. Who cares? Now we've got Aiden. I think Aiden is actually pretty decent. Again, I don't know if I would consider him a minor, but whatever. Yeah, obviously Deanna's son, he's there for a bit and then he dies pretty quickly after he's introduced. I think he sort of highlights the sort of arrogancy that Alexandria had and their naivety, I suppose. So in a sense, he's kind of almost like a symbol character. Okay, he's a symbol for the whole community, and I don't know. I think for what he is, he's there. He's good enough. Albert, I feel like a lot of these are going to be meh. Albert's just a meh because I don't really care. Alex, I think is pretty decent. I liked him as like a mini kind of. Obviously, Albert's one of the cannibals, but he just kind of gets shot in the head. Anyway, Alex, one of the cannibals, obviously gets accidentally shot. He had like a little bit of character to him, so I think he's decent. I remember him a lot more. We've got, sorry, that's Alex. This guy is called, I know it begins with an A. Alfred, is it? I fuck knows what his name is. I forget now. He's a highwayman anyway. I know that. But I've forgotten exactly which one he is, what his name is. It might also be, is it also Alex? I don't even know. It begins with an A, I know that. Again, he's pretty meh. I don't really care. Alicia. Alicia I think is actually pretty solid. I liked her as like a mini character, She doesn't really have much to her, but she was pretty cool. She was pretty badass. She had that kind of little relationship with Tara. And there's a few, she gets a bit of characterization here and there. Oh, now we got Alan, all right? Now, you guys know, I'm on the Alan hate train, okay? Yeah, I just feel like Alan is like one of those characters, like it's the worst plotline in season 3. I've said this before, but that weird like plotline with the rivalry between him and Tyrese, and then Alan wanting to kill Rick's group to take over the prison, and then his son dies, and then he sort of, we don't really even see him grieve, and then he kind of just tries to kill the governor and gets shot in the head. I felt like Alan's character really didn't need to be there, or at the very least, like Alan could have like died sooner. Yeah. Alvaro, okay, Alvaro, I feel like is a solid ass. He might even be top tier. I'm gonna put him in solid. I think he's above Alicia though. Yeah, he's just like very loyal, very cool. He dies trying to save his king. Amanda Shepherd, I think is pretty solid too. I again very characterized a fair bit. Nat was the leader of Grady, I assume, after Dawn's death. Pretty reasonable. Maybe I just put her in decent actually, because I feel like she's a little bit too, like, we have that conflict of Bob being killed, and then she's like, her and Lucario are like, don't worry, we'll lie, and then that whole like plot line like never comes up again, like, that never becomes an issue, which was really weird. This one is Amber. I feel like Amber's just a meh as well. I don't really care. I mean, she's fine. She's a bit sad. She cries a lot because she's married to Negan. I mean, I would cry as well. And of course, her boyfriend's Mark, and yeah, I mean, that's it really. Not really much to her. Amy, I think, is pretty solid. I put her there. I mean, yeah, she's actually maybe just decent. Obviously, she is like a season 1 character. She doesn't have tons about her, but she dies. It's sad, very sad for Andrea. We got Anna. Anna is just a meh. I don't really mind her that much. Her inclusion was kind of fine, I guess. I mean, I don't think it was bad, but yeah, I mean, nothing really results much in Anna because eventually Rick and Carol find that she dead. Andrew, I think, is actually a very decent minor character, although maybe he could have had a bit more characterization, I suppose, potentially. But, I mean, he's like a simple, easy character, you know. He's there, Rick basically leaves him to die, and then as revenge, he tries to take back the prison. I mean, it's a pretty bang, one and done sort of character, really. No, we didn't really do much more than that. Andy, I think, was decent. You know, he's the main savior guy who obviously he has his arm broken by Daryl. He strangles Abraham. He helps with the satellite outpost, and then eventually gets killed at the same satellite outpost later on. Yeah, I mean, he's just fine. We have Anna. Or Anne. Is it Anne or Anna? Whatever her name is. The Alexandrian woman who sometimes looks after Judith. I mean, I'm tempted to just put garbage because like she didn't have any lines. She doesn't really do anything. I mean, because at least all these guys actually did something. I don't really care that much for her. Maybe I'll just put her in there. Maybe that's too harsh. Annie, I actually really like all these like little season 6 Alexandrian characters. I thought they were all like really cool. I feel like she was like not as characterized as well as the others, but I'll just put her in decent. April Martins. I feel like the April storyline like went nowhere, so I generally am just gonna put her in garbage. Like, what was the point? I mean, it caused like the riots, I guess, but I don't know. She never really got any justice. I felt because then Sebastian just kind of dies, you know. It's something that doesn't result, and then I guess I don't know. I guess Pamela gets Strussman. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe I'll just put her in the meh. Arat. Arat is pretty solid. I think she's like one of those memorable saviors. Yeah, I feel happy putting her there. We got Austin. I feel like most of the Reapers are just gonna go in meh. I mean, he didn't have that much unique about him. You know, he was just a dude. We've got Axel. I feel like Axel's very solid. I don't know if I'd quite consider him a minor character, but we'll put him there anyway. Yeah, solid. Barbara is a top tier minor character. Okay, this is just my personal opinion, and it means jack shit, okay? I just want to preface that. I'm a Barbara stan, okay? I love Barbara. This woman, she survives from season 5 all the way to season 11, okay? And for that alone, she gets top tier minor character. And I just like the fact that she's always in the background, like looking after Judith, you know? I don't know. It's like one of those weird things. I'm unironically obsessed with Barbara. We've got Barnes. This one was kind of garbage because he's like the one like minor Alexandrian who like has a go at Rick and then like dies 2 seconds later, and he's like, oh, there we are. I don't know. I'm gonna put him there. I felt like he wasn't necessary because Carter had just died at the end of episode 1, so it felt like they could have, instead of just like everyone like over his body, it could have been everyone over Carter's body. And when Rick kind of tells the group like, oh, we could have left, he felt like an extra red shirt for the sake of it, and I don't know if he needed to be there. Beatrice, I think she's decent. She's like a recognizable face. Obviously, she's all the way there till season 10, and where she dies. Obviously, one of the Oceanside ladies. Ben, he goes with his father. I just don't like that storyline, like I said. Benjamin, I think Benjamin's top tier. I really like Benjamin's character. Again, I don't know if I'd quite consider him a minor character, but I'm rolling with it. Yeah, he's just pretty cool overall. So I'm gonna put him there. And very tragic as well, but also like really humble and really like cool, you know. We've got Bertie. I feel like I put Bertie in probably just meh. I mean, she didn't really do much. Everyone thought, or at least I thought, she was going to be the comical equivalent to what's her name? Beatrice, is it? Beatrice in the comics, the sort of woman who's kind of like very close to Maggie. You know, like Maggie's almost like advisor, but Bertie basically just doesn't do anything and then disappears. Big Tiny. Yeah, I mean, he's decent. I liked him. He's characterized a little bit for the little screen time he's on there, and then he dies. And he seemed like the nicest prisoner, so got to give him that. Now we've got Bob. All right, what's this guy's surname again? Bob something. Oh, I can't think of his surname. Anyway, Bob. Bob is decent, all right? He's there for a bit, and then he dies off screen, okay? But he's a great, nice old man. We've got Brady. Brady he's getting a meh because he's not there for long. He's just the National Guard guy who gets shot by the governor. Brandon, okay? I think Brandon was kind of cringe, to be honest, as a storyline, but I understand what they were doing it. I'm going to put him in decent. Brian, or however you say it. Yeah, he's just a meh. He's like very recognizable for the scavengers, but I don't really like the scavengers, so he doesn't get much higher. We've got Bruce. Okay, Bruce is solid. He's there for a while. He's a recognizable face. He's the builder man. Dies in season 8. R.I.P. We got Bud. I think Bud's actually pretty solid. He's obviously the biker savior who gets blown up by Daryl, but I feel like his little like monologue and his little like intimidation was pretty cool, although a little cringe, but I'm going to put him in solid nonetheless. Caleb, Dr. S, he's a solid, really cool little minor minor character who of course is the doctor in the prison in season 4, and he dies because of the sickness. We got Carter. I was talking about him before in relation to Barnes, but I feel like Carter is, pretty decent. I think he's a good, like, one episode character for that sort of conflict, and he kind of sets up Rick's arc, I guess, overall. He's like Clara in a way, when we're coming to Clara. We got Cheryl. I don't care for the old woman. She felt so random. She was so weird. It was just so she died, but at the same time, like, her first appearance was in season 10. Like, they didn't decide to use like an established Alexandrian character or like a savior character. You could have used Barbara, although that meant Barbara would have died, so maybe not. I don't know. It felt I don't like it when they have these like random characters that pop in, like in season 10, and we've got what we're supposed to believe she's always lived in Alexandria, because the alternative to her not always living in Alexandria is believing that she was surviving out on the road, okay? And I don't believe an old lady is doing that. Now we've got Clara. Clara, I think, is actually very solid because she's a real thematic character. She sets up the theme for season 4 like excellently, and we learn so much about her in that one episode. I really love her character. It's really tragic. It's really sad, but she sets up the whole Too Far Gone theme. We've got Cole. I just don't care for. He's pretty meh. He didn't do anything interesting, sadly, so he looked pretty awesome. He looked pretty badass, but he just ended up doing nothing. For a time, I was thinking he was like a Dante replacement, but I guess not. We got Craven, Negan biker man. I think he resembles Bud so much. It's kind of weird, but I feel like, yeah, he resembles this guy so much. It's really odd. I'm just going to put him decent. He was fine as like a mini villain for that episode, but nothing that special. Crowley. Okay, I unironically all the governor sidemen are all going automatically at least in decent or higher, because I feel like they all have like this aesthetic to them that's like really unique. Like Crowley, Tim, Shumpert, Merle, who else we got? Like that sort of core little group that the governor has, Martinez obviously, is like, I feel like they're all like really unique, right? They all have like their own different weapons. And I think, ironically, it kind of like making them like a diverse group as well, like I think helps as well. But like it's just like they're all like recognizable. Like the governor's militia doesn't feel like it's like respawning NPCs like Negan's army does. Like the governor's army feels like real people, like because they all look different. They all have different guns and they wear. Whereas like Negan's saviors just feel, especially in season 8, they honestly feel like NPCs. We got Dan, Rapey Dan. I feel like Dan is I don't know, maybe we're talking moral, he's garbage, but I think as a character, he's fun. He's like meh. I mean, he's pretty creepy actually. So maybe yeah, I'm gonna put decent just because like he serves his purpose. He's like a real creeper. Okay. So yeah, Dr. Dana. This one was garbage. I feel like they just throwing Dr. Dana because they wanted Sadiq to be like a significant character for the group, because obviously Carl sacrificed himself, so it was important that he has to be a doctor, right? An important character. That's why we have to kill off Dr. Harlan Carson, right? That's why he dies. And I feel like the writers forgot that they actually mentioned there was a doctor in season 7, because obviously Carol was fixed up, right? The Kingdom Doctor fixed her up. So I felt like they had to kill another doctor off, because they were like, well, shit, we mentioned there was a doctor in the Kingdom, so why wouldn't Maggie just go to the Kingdom for their doctor? So they had to introduce the doctor in that one episode just to kill her off, right? Just to make Sadiq relevant. I feel like that is generally the thought process that went behind Dr. Dana. So that's why I feel like she was garbage, because it felt a bit contrived. Daniel is a top tier. I like this guy. Maybe it's because he's a ginger. I don't really know. There's something about him I love. He dies protecting his king, okay? And he's the guy who like introduced introduced Morgan to the Kingdom, right? He's the first Kingdom we see. We got Tony. I feel like he's decent. He also shows up in the Red Machete web episode, so he gets extra points for that. Tony, another Tony. I really like Tony, Dave and Tony. More so Dave, I guess. But more so Dave. No, this is. Wait, huh? Is this guy called Tony? I don't remember. Wait, this is Dave, isn't it? This guy's Tony, right? I feel like this guy's called Tony. Oh, whatever. Whatever his name is. Anyway, we've got Dave. Dave is solid, all right? He's a solid-ass character. I really like his little speech. It's really tense, awesome, great, amazing. And then, of course, he gets shot in the head by Rick. All right, great character. We got David. Was he called Dave? Maybe he's called David. I don't even know. We've got David, anyway. As a character, he's nothing that interesting. I'm going to put him in meh. I mean, he's just, like, evil for evil's sake, but I feel like he's not as intimidating as Dan, like, not as creepy as Dan was. So, I don't know. I'm putting him there. We got David. Who cares? It felt like they needed a second person to die in the thing, but like David does nothing. You literally could miss him, blink and you miss it, and you're like, they killed Karen and David. Who the fuck is David? I feel like loads of people were asking like, who is David? And people were like, oh yeah, it's this like little extra who shows up at the start of the episode. By the way, yeah, I don't know. It felt like it could have been someone a bit more significant potentially. Okay, this guy is called David too, I think, isn't he? Yeah, so David, this is David, he's Alexandrian. I really like this guy. I think his story is like tragic. All he wants to do is get back to see his wife before he dies, because of course he's been bitten, and then he doesn't get to do that. And he writes this letter that's like abandoned. It's really sad. Now we've got, and then his wife kills herself as well, Betsy. I don't know if she's on this list. Is Betsy on this list? Oh no, she wouldn't have been. Betsy was not on this list. But yeah, his wife again kills herself. Really sad. So we've got Dean. Yeah, garbage. I don't know. He's kind of cringe. Or maybe meh. I like it when Maggie shoots him in the face, but he was that mean savior who pisses himself and then takes Jesus hostage, and then they capture, and Jesus doesn't want to kill him for some weird reason. Denise. I like Denise a lot. I think she's pretty solid. I like her little arc. She's a very good one-season character for sure. Diana. Diana's very solid. She shows up like from season 7 all the way to season 11, doesn't she? Yeah, I like her a lot. DJ. Okay, DJ, top tier, all right? I really like DJ. I like the fact that he's a savior. He turns to sort of help after the war, and then he's part of like Jeb's little militia or little band of merry men, and he actually holds I think he holds a gun to Rick or something, right? And then DJ then reverts back to being an Alexandrian, and he like dies fighting the Whisperers. I mean, like, this guy's awesome. Okay, I love DJ. He's a personal favorite. This one is Donnie. Yeah, Donnie. This guy's decent, I guess. I mean, he's just angry because he was shot by Carol and then he bleeds out. Duncan. Meh. I don't really care for Duncan. I don't really care for any of like the Meridian-esque people. Eduardo is, I'd say decent. Yeah. Yeah, he's. I wouldn't say solid because he just like he kind of disappears, but he's a hilltop guard, pretty cool. I like him. We got Owen. I feel like Owen is another decent. he's a little cringe. Let's be honest. The performance is a little cringe. He shows up in season 11 though for a little cameo, which is pretty cool. But dies due to Ricky Dicky Doodog Rhymes. Edwin Jenner. I don't know if I'd say top tier. I feel like he's solid though. I like him overall. As like a minor character, he's pretty good. And I think, again, yeah, he's characterized pretty well. Pretty tragic too. I mean, all these minor characters have pretty tragic backstories. This is random Alexandrian person. I barely recognize her. She's going there. Dr. Emmett Carson. Yeah, I mean, I guess meh. I don't really care for that much. He gets thrown in a furnace. Eric Rawley. Eric, I think, is solid. I would have liked it if they characterized him a little bit more, but overall, he's pretty good. Aaron's a BF. This is Erin. Erin is just decent, I guess. She's like one of those women that Carol is obviously friends with, who then Carol is forced to put down after she's slashed by a wolf even. Ethan is the guy that Rick kills in the hilltop. I'm just going to go with meh. I don't really care either way. He doesn't have that much interesting. Farian, however you say it. This is the scavenger lady who beats up Michonne. I think she's decent. Someone pointed out the actress is like a MMA fighter or some shit. I would have liked it if they actually like highlighted that before the fight, before like she was up there with Michonne. Like if they highlighted like, because she just randomly shows up in that one episode and then obviously beats up Michonne. But like if that's like, oh shit, okay, that makes sense if she's like a MMA fighter or whatever. But then they should have like made that apparent in like an earlier episode or in that episode, right? I don't know, maybe she's like bench lifting 180 pounds or some shit. Like show that. Fat Joseph. Fat Joseph, I unironically love. I feel like he's just solid, right? He's such a lovely guy, or he seems like such a teddy bear, but he's actually an evil prick if you really look at it, because he was like beating up Daryl with that group of men. He was holding that gun to Daryl. I mean, he was working with TNT and like doing zombie hordes and shit. I mean, that guy was kind of evil, right? But he seemed so innocent. This is Felipe. Felipe is I'm just gonna go with meh because he doesn't really do that much. He has his abuela, who is in the Vatos nursing home, and I think his cousin, is it his cousin who's Miguel? Miguel's his cousin or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, we've got Francine. Francine is solid. I like her. Recognizable face. Gets shot and killed in season 8. Frank. This is Alpha's husband. Honestly, kind of garbage because I generally hate the unreliable narrator that they do for those flashbacks, where like Lydia is kind of lying about like who was the abusive parent, so it becomes very confusing like what Frank was actually like, and also I don't know, I just felt like we didn't get enough from him, so I personally didn't like how they did Frank. We got Frankie, lovely Eugene simp. All right, Eugene likes to turn this lady off so easily. She does massages as well for Negan, one of Negan's wives. I think she's pretty solid. She gets decapitated there by Alpha. Very sad. Freddy. I'm going to say Freddy is just a meh. I don't really care. He talks about his dead wife, which is kind of sad. And then he gets shot in the satellite outpost. We've got Frost. All right, Frost. Like I said, he's going to go with all the others in here. I just didn't care that much for any of these Meridianites guys that much. Yeah, sorry. We've got Gabe. Little bitch broke my nose. That guy. I think he's decent. I liked him. We've got Gage. Gage, I like overall. I mean, he's a little shit. He's annoying. But I think he's, pretty solidly characterized throughout the seasons he's in, season 9, 8, and 10, and 11. And then I think his death's pretty tragic. But also kind of brutal, and I kind of like it. We got Julio, all right, aka Neil. We've got Neil, all right, because we're going to call him Neil. No, Gargiulio, I think it's a top tier. I do unironically love how he starts the episode as a little whining bitch, like a little sniveling pussy, and he ends the episode as an absolute fucking badass. He's like, no, Merle, we're going to go into the red zone and kill that woman, all right? We're going to do that. And it's like, even Merle's like, shit, this kid grew balls so quickly. Fuck, I gotta kill him. It's going to get me killed. Yeah, unironically, it's kind of wild how that character arc happens so Sinclair, but then I don't know, I kind of believe it because he goes through like so much shit in that episode. I unironically love him. He's like a really cool little minor character. Gary, I didn't really like how he dies. He just kind of gets killed in the mutiny, and it felt like a bit like, oh, Gary was like very recognizable. It was a bit annoying, but apart from that, he's very solid. Gavin, I wish they did more with him, but overall he's pretty solid. I like him, the sort of reasonable savior who's just having a bad day. We've got Georgie. I don't know if I'd say should have been cut, but because I guess it was the excuse for why Maggie left for a season. She's helping Georgie, and why like the Hilltop like advanced so much is like, we got it from Georgie. But at the same time, like, Georgie is so fucking cringe. That entire like segment is so weird. She wants records for knowledge. Oh god, it's just like not the Walking Dead I want, right? It's so unrealistic. It's so stupid. I hate it. This is Gordon. Or Gorman? No, this is Gordon. He's a savior who Dwight kills. He wants to defect. Pretty meh. I don't really care that much about that storyline. It's a good episode. I like The Cell as an episode, but I think that like plot line with Dwight and Gordon was like, it was just kind of a meh plot line. Like, I didn't hate it. I don't think it was bad, but yeah. We've got Gorman. Horrible, creepy ass Gorman. I think he's decent. He's fine for what he is, but I don't think he's nothing crazy. Now we've got this guy who's called Green. He's a pretty, god, shall I say garbage? I don't know. Like, I feel like, so he was set up as like a training person, and then like he gets killed during the attack on the Riverbend. So we're supposed to believe that Lance took these new recruits, these new Commonwealth recruits, and put him into his like little cabal of Commonwealth troops. I don't know. It's just like, it was so random out of nowhere. I felt like, I don't know, but at the same time, like, I don't care, so I'm just gonna put them in there. Gilmero. Gilmero's like, I feel like he's pretty solid. I like him as like a mini character, right? As a mini foe who actually turns out to be like a really good guy. So I'm gonna put him there. We've got Gunther. He's a little cringe, can't lie. But I think, again, for that episode, for that sort of as a one-episode character, and for what he does with Ezekiel, I think I'm going to put him in solid. Like, he's that guy, he's the devil on Ezekiel's shoulder who's, like, telling him, like, you know, you got all your people killed and all that. Yeah, I really like him. Haley, see, again, when I was talking about, like, the governor's people, I really like Haley, too. I feel like she was, like, that girl, very naive, bit of a naive survivor, but honestly, heart's in the right place. Really, like, kind of innocent, you know, kind of sweet. Although she does get a little annoyed at Andrea for breaking the rules. And then she gets gunned down by Maggie during the rescue of Daryl. And, like, I feel like that's part of the reason why Andrea stays. Is because, like, this girl was, like, this was just a girl, right? She was not barely an adult, and she was gunned down in this conflict. You know, that's she sort of represented the innocence of the Woodbury community. And I think it's part of the reason why Andrea doesn't leave when she could have, right? So that's why I really like Haley's character. Dr. Harlan Carson, I really like him. I think he's a solid character. I might even put Haley. No, I'm going to put Haley as solid. Maybe I will. Maybe I will do it. Do I do it? Yeah, because ironically, I kind of like the inclusion of Haley. Yeah, Dr. Harlan Carson is also a solid. Really like him. Cool dude. Especially love the episode with him and Gabriel. I think that does wonders for him. If it wasn't for that episode, he'd be lower. But that episode's really cool. And then obviously it results in his death, sadly. But whatevs. We've got Hart. Oh, so cool. Like, she looked so fucking badass. And she has this cool fucking ass weapon. Did nothing with her. They kill her off screen, for fuck's sake. Honestly, garbage. Because they teased us. They teased us in the trailers as well, I remember. Alright, and then she just dies off screen. How sad. We got Heath. Honestly, I really like how Heath is characterized. I enjoy it, and then he just disappears and never is heard from again. So, very sad, but he's still a very solid character in his own right. We got Ian. I think Ian is pretty meh. I mean, he's fine for what he is. He thinks Gabriel and Aaron are cannibals. He's the leader of the Riverbend community, of course. And then he dies. I mean, who cares? Jackie. Jackie is decent, a little minor sort of season 1 character who dies in the CDC. Again, I would have liked more from her, but whatever. We've got, this guy is called Jake something, right? Green and what was the other one called? I don't remember his surname. Jake something anyway. Jake, I'm going to put him with Green because it's the same sort of like thing that happened where they were like shown to be new recruits and then they just kind of die. Jake Turner, is it? Jake Turner? I don't know. We've got Jared. Jared is unironically should have been cut. Cringy ass character. I think he's like the cringiest, like most evil, most dick savior for no reason. Like I guess people like that exist, but maybe it's something to do with the actor's performance. Like it's just too over the top for me, and I detest every scene that Jared is in. And that's not because like the character, because some people will say, well, that's because the character is well written, but it's not that. It's like it's so cringe. That's why I hate him. Like. The governor is evil, right? And he's like a really like he does evil acts, but he's well written. Like Jared's just like a sniveling arsehole for no reason. Jed or Jeb, is it Jeb? Jed, whatever it is. Jed. I think he's solid, I guess. I mean, he sort of leads the saviors, the saviors post the fall of the sanctuary, and I think he's a little cool, like a cool like minor character. Jesse. Pretty meh. I mean, he just kind of, he's there as a means to an end. He obviously is the guy. He's like a new person. He gets shot and by the Commonwealth troopers whilst fleeing, and then he dies at the hilltop. We got Jim. Jim is pretty solid. Really like Jim. Obviously, he has his little hallucinations. He digs some grades. He gets bitten and then he dies. Very sad overall, but he's a really cool little character. I wouldn't say I want him to survive longer, but yeah. This guy, I barely recognize. I think I do recognize. I can't think. God, is he a savior? I actually don't recognize him at all. I think he's one of those saviors, yeah. I mean, he's that savior who's like survived like since season 6. I'm pretty sure. He might be. I know there's like one of them. Jimmy, but I barely recognize him, so I can't put him anywhere. Jimmy is kind of meh, because like they literally do nothing with Jimmy. He's there. He's like, oh, his Beth's boyfriend. We never even, I swear we don't even see him and Beth react. Like, I mean, there's like 2 scenes where they're hugging, and that's like it. We never see them talk or interact, because Beth at that point is like also a background character, pretty much. And like, yeah, Jimmy's like, and then he just kind of dies. Like, I don't know. We've got Hero. Hero is decent for what he is. He's like a beta or he's like a version 2 of Jed. He's like Bud, sorry. He's a version 2 of Bud. He's leading like a little band of saviors. He's kind of evil, and then he gets killed. I mean, there he is. We've got Joan. Yeah, I mean, fine. She's fine as she is. I feel like Addie I should put is decent actually now, thinking about it. Joan is like fine for what she is, but I don't really care that much for her as a character. Although it's actually, no, I shouldn't say that. It's pretty tragic, like what happens to her, like what's been happening to her, and it's pretty sad that she kills herself. But I mean, like overall, like there's nothing. You know, I didn't feel sad. I felt sad for her because of the situation. I feel sad for anyone, right? Her character wasn't that characterized at all, really. And we've got Jodie. Jodie is, I'm gonna say decent because I feel like what it does for Carl's storyline is very good. But him as a character, he has the same effect as, I hate it when this happens. He shows up in one episode, right? Welcome to the Tombs, and then he dies in that episode, right? And he's an important pivotal character. I understand that sometimes you have to do that because obviously sometimes the background actors can't act for shit, right? Or they can't act very well, so you gotta get someone else. But this character in particular was like this was a nothing. Why didn't they use Noah? Because they had Noah, right? The Karen's like, not son, but that school kid that had asthma in Woodbury. Why didn't they use him for that? Because they set him up as well, actually. Yeah, thinking about it, they should have done that. Maybe they were planning to, but I don't know, he wasn't available for filming or something. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's just better when they have like set up characters, and this guy kind of came out of nowhere just to die, so that's why he's only going in decent. Actually, maybe he's gonna go meh. He's gonna go meh actually, just for that, because it annoyed me. We got Skinny Joey. Skinny Joey is garbage because they didn't even like make sure. They didn't even like make us know that he's Skinny Joey, and they set Skinny Joey up only for Skinny Joey to be shot and killed by his own men. Very disappointing. Now we've got Jules. Is this Jules? meh. I mean, she's fine. I wouldn't say she's garbage, but because it's just like love interest for Luke. That's why Luke's not in the story anymore, because he's busy filming Fantastic Beasts. But I feel like, yeah, I just don't care that much about Julio. Okay, this motherfucker. This is like the coolest dude ever, right? During the prison attack, he had a fucking sniper rifle and he was just shooting people. He is the reason, right? Julio is the reason why Glenn and Maggie are alive. Because if it wasn't for him, holding down the position, they wouldn't have made it to the prison bus. They might have been killed, right, during the attack. So, like, unironically, Julio is the story of this, is the hero of the Walking Dead. Very tragic that he dies. I unironically love this guy. Okay. Now we've got Justin. Justin is, I'm just gonna go meh. He is like a dick for dick's sake for no reason, and then he kind of gets murdered. He's the murder mystery of this of the season 9. So he's a means to an end. Carl, I think, is better than Eduardo. He's a bit more feisty, but again, he does disappear, which is quite annoying. So, but I'm gonna put him at the bottom of solid there. Karen, I liked overall. I like how she carries on from, we see her in Woodbury and she carries on to the finale. Like, again, it would have been like having this is what I was saying with Jodie. Like, could you imagine if instead of Karen, like a character who we'd seen who was established before, instead of her, they had like some random woman who we saw for the very first time in that episode, gave her like one line, and then had her be the one that they find in the truck. Like, that would have been annoying, because it's like, oh, who's this woman? Why? Oh, I guess she's like a member of Woodbury. Yeah, that would have been so annoying. That's what annoyed me about Jodie, right? That's just how you do it. That's why I like Karen. We've got Kathy. She doesn't really, she barely has any lines, and then she kind of dies off screen. And I was like, oh, was that Kathy who died? Oh, that's annoying. And it was like, it's not even noticeable. It's not even notable that she dies. This is Keith. What fucking name? Keith the Whisperer Man. Garbage because, well, actually probably should have been cut. Because they introduce this, like, oh, the Whisperers are still around. Aaron tortures him, has him get bitten. They chop his arm off, and they just kind of leave him there. This poor fucking bastard. It makes me, like, kind of hate Aaron. Like, it did generally make me hate Aaron. And then it annoys me because they don't even do anything with these setup Whisperers. Like, wouldn't it have been cool if they allied with the Whisperers and they helped, like, defeat the Commonwealth? Like, something like that could have been interesting. Like, they set up the Whisperers still being around, only for, like, to never revisit it. To never revisit Keith, even though he was, like, living in the hilltop, right? And then Maggie sets up shop in the hilltop, and, like, I guess he's gone now. It's so random, so stupid, so pointless. Kenneth Sutton. I think he's decent. He's, like, a innocent, fairly, like, cool kid who gets killed. I mean, again, he's like a setup death. I like how this happens quite often, where we have a character set up in the premiere only to die. Because obviously you have season 3. There isn't really one in season 3, I guess. But season 2, you have season 4, you have Clara. Season 5, I guess you could say you have the crazed savior. I mean, the crazed dude who did the attack on Terminus. In a sense, you could kind of say, oh, Mary, I guess, maybe Mary. I don't know. There isn't really one for season 5 as much. But season 6, you have Carter. Season 7, you have, who do you have in season 7? Maybe you don't have one in season 7 actually. Oh wait, I guess Glenn. Yeah, I guess it's Glenn and Abraham. Season 8, you have the beard. I feel like that bearded savior that Rick kills, kind of in a way, in a sense. But yeah, season 9 anyway, you have Kenneth. Season 10, do you have one in season 10? Maybe not. I feel like in season 11 it's kind of Gage, although that's in part 2. Anyway, moving on. Sorry, weird tangent. We have Kent. Kind of garbage, right? Kent doesn't, he shows up a lot. He doesn't do anything interesting, and then he dies off screen. Very annoying, alright? I don't like it when my background characters die off screen. We have Kevin even. Kevin, Kingdom guy. He helps Carol talk to her about what's it? Not casserole. What is it? Cobbler. Yeah, he's pretty decent, and he dies sadly. Now this guy is Kyle. All right, Kyle is an Alexandrian, but I'm just gonna put him in there because honestly, he's there for a while, but I feel like he does nothing. He's quite hard to spot in the background. He's easier to spot like in the later seasons, like 9, 10, 11. But like before that, he's like such in the background. He was he was very hard to spot. Not like a Barbara or a Tobin. Okay, so unfortunately he has to go there. Laura, top tier. Minor character for sure. I like the banter she has with Eugene. It's a bit annoying how she dies. It felt like she was done a bit dirty. I mean, also she's like the first savior in a way because she's like the first member of the saviors that Negan meets. So there's like lots of lore with this character. She gets killed by Beta, sadly though. Maybe they could be cheeky and say that she didn't die. I don't know. Maybe that would be too much. But yeah. Top tier character Laura. Now we've got this is begins with an L. Len. That's it. It helps that this is alphabetical, by the way. Len. Okay. Len, I think, is like a little crux to Daryl. Is pretty good. I'm just gonna put him in decent. We've got this one was called L. Leo, I think, right? He's a savior. Pretty garbage because he's set up in one episode just to die. I don't like it when they do that, and they do that a lot with the saviors. So any savior like that is probably gonna go in the garbage unless they were like really cool. Lucari, I think, is just decent. I mean, he was arrogant, I guess, and he tried to save the cops, and he had that standoff with him and Rick, which is pretty cool. But ultimately, he shows to be a cool dude. And yeah, I don't know. The fact he stood up to Rick was pretty badass. I mean, stand up to the murder jacket Rick is pretty ballsy. So he's gonna go at the top of decent. Lily, would you really consider her a minor character? I mean, she's like a spotlight episode, but okay. Yeah, I mean, I like Lily. I don't know if I'd put her in solid. I mean, as an actual character, probably, just because she is characterized really well, and I do think her story's very tragic. And yeah, I mean, overall, I'll put it there. I feel like I'm not gonna put anyway. Lucille is a top tier. Although again, I don't know if you call her a minor character, but minor character in the grand scheme of things, I suppose. But like she's quite focal in that one episode. In Here's Negan. Yeah, honestly, characterized really well. I think her and Eastman are like my top two like one episode characters. Very tragic. The chemistry between Negan and Lucille's great. Probably helps that they're married in real life. But yeah, overall, really love Lucille. Very tragic downfall as well. We have Luke. Yeah, I mean, he's decent. He's a little kid. Shows up fairly often. You see him around the prison, and then he gets eaten. He gets devoured by walkers on the road. Very, very sad. Now, this is Manchetta, I think it's called, or Mancia, or whatever. I don't know how to say it. He's the Whisperer. I keep saying Whisperer. Reaper, Preacher. He's a meh, like all of them. Actually, maybe he's a bit higher, because we see him. He's kind of like a crazy ass preacher, and then like Gabriel like just kills him in the church. Again, I wish they did more with Gabriel's arc to relate to this guy, but yeah, actually no, I feel like he's pretty solid. He's like the one Reaper that they characterize quite well. Maya, this is like the second lieutenant. So Regina's the lieutenant to that one outpost, so she's like in command. She's like a lieutenant, like secondary lieutenant, I guess. She shows up in that one episode just to die, and it's kind of cringe because she gets killed. She's like, "What's going on? Oh no, we're dying!" It's garbage. Okay, it should have been a character they set up. We have Marco. Yeah, I like Marco. He shows up in season 9 and he lives all the way to season 11 where he's shot. Although he does disappear for like a long stretch of time, only to show up just to die, which is kind of funny. But overall, pretty solid. Margot, I don't. She's a meh. I mean, I don't really care that much for her character per se, but her death does lead to the should we execute Negan thing, which is kind of cool. So I guess her death has a meaning, but I don't really care for her as a character. We have Mark. Okay, I think Mark's decent. Okay, they don't do anything with Mark. They have him get his face burnt. I don't even know if he has any lines. And then Mark, of course, we see him, I think, walking around, and he does get killed off screen because basically Mark was meant to die in season 8, but that's when that stunt actor died. So the stunt actor for Mark was the stunt actor who tragically died because of a fall during season 8. And obviously there was a big lawsuit, and I think it was basically Dwight killing Mark was the stunt. I think he was meant to like throw him off the sanctuary balcony. So I think Mark's technically considered dead because I think that death is actually meant to have happened just off screen, or at least that's how the wiki orders it, which is whatever. So I guess Mark is dead, but yeah, I don't know. They just didn't do much with him, so I'm gonna have to put him in the. Actually, I'm gonna have to put him in the meh because there was a lot of potential. Mr. Martins, I just don't care for. It's a meh. Martin is a pretty solid, like mini, really evil dude, and I like him as well, and I like how he shows up in the hallucinations to like torment Tyrese too. So he gets to go there. Martinez, I don't even know. Would you? He's top tier. Okay, maybe top tier. Top is solid. Okay. I like Martinez a lot. Again, I think he's got that aesthetic to him. He shows up. He's a loyalist to the governor. He, of course, abandons the governor. Shows up again. He's got his own little camp, and the governor kills him. And yeah, very sad. Very, very tragic. But yeah, I mean, overall, I like him as like a minor character. He's pretty cool. Mary, I really like Mary. I think she's like this like weird because she's like seems so innocent. She's so like weirdly extra intimidating in her cannibal ways. So yeah, I'm gonna put her in the solid. We've got Maze. I like Maze as a one episode character. Robert Patrick, pretty cool. Although it does feel it's a little contrived how he kind of gives up so easily. Like when they preach to him, they're like, "Come on, there are good people left," and he's like, "Father, I don't believe that." And then he kind of like begins to like begins to untie them, and then obviously Gabriel kills him. It felt like it was a little like there should have been another step there to get him to hold his guard down. But I think overall I liked him. And of course, it's Robert Patrick. We've got Megan. Pretty solid. I mean, like for what she does to the governor, it's like quite significant. Obviously, this is like the governor's new surrogate daughter. So yeah. I mean, I like her for that, but apart from that, there's nothing special. Maybe I just put her in decent because, again, like she serves a purpose, but her as herself is nothing that interesting. Michelle. Okay, so I really unironically love Michelle, and I'm just gonna grab her now because I see her. I love Michelle. I love Molly, and where's Paula? Is Paula here too? We'll just do Paula here as well because it'll be easier then to explain them all. Yeah, there's Paula. So the same boat, the episode where Maggie and Carol are captured by the Saviors and they're sort of stuck there. We of course have these characters. Now the main one's Paula, who's like a direct mirror to Carol. You have Michelle, who's kind of like a mirror to Maggie, and then Molly, who's like kind of there, you know, in a sense is a little like. Is like the bridge between these two, I guess, in a sense. Well, Molly's just kind of an extra one, but they're all characterized so fucking well in one episode, like really well. And so when like, you know, Carol kills Paula, and when Carol is forced to kill Michelle, and Michelle's like shocked that she's like slashed Maggie's side, and Molly's death, like all three of these women, like I feel like they're really well characterized in one episode, like really well, and I really love that episode too. So for that reason, they're gonna go in the solid. We have Miguel. Yeah, I think he's decent. Nothing too special. He's the Vatos guy who they bring in as like a hostage. Mikey. Garbage, because Mikey shows up and then never shows up again, even though he's like pretty significant in the comics, and it's just like it's annoying. I hate it when they do this, right? It's like, oh, they're gonna do anything with Mikey. He's like the same as Hart, okay? He was set up only to do nothing, all right, and then die off screen. Very sad. If anything, he should have been cut because like, why bother showing him in just to not do anything with him? I don't know, or maybe I just put him in garbage. Milton. Milton's top tier. I love Milton. He has like a profound arc as well. Like he starts sniveling coward, he ends brave trying to stab the governor, and of course he dies whilst doing it. Great arc. Very awkward, very nerdy, but I love him overall. He's a great dude. He's a good one season character. Now we have Mitch. He's decent, although I find it hard to believe that if a madman killed my brother, all right, I'd probably pretend to be loyal for a bit, but I'd probably kill that guy eventually. So I found it weird that he was loyal to the governor. But I guess his brother was also kind of a sniveling pussy. But yeah. We've got Michael. He was one of the Jocelyn boys. The Jocelyn boys. I don't think Jocelyn was on here. Where the hell Jocelyn? This is M, yeah. So she should have been before. Oh well. I guess there's no Jocelyn. But yeah, Michael. I mean, he's just a meh. I'm gonna put him there. He's a little intimidating, but he's nothing that special. Molly. I'm gonna put Molly. Where did I put Luke? Because I guess they would go with Luke. Actually, they're gonna go down here. I don't know why I put them in there. Yeah, they're meh. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So Molly and Luke, I would put them in meh, and also Michael's meh. We've got Morales. Morales is solid, but listen, I can't put him in top tier because I fucking hate the meme. I hate the fact that the fans basically bullied the show creators to bring back Morales for like no reason. This is the guy who runs the opium farm. I forget his name now. It begins with an M. Should have been cut. They set that up, and they do nothing with it. Again, I hate this, and they do nothing with this guy either. It felt so pointless. That entire like little sidetrack where they go to the opium farm was like, again, pointless. Mrs. Martins, I don't care. Nabila is, I'm just gonna go as decent. She's cool. She shows up obviously in season 7, and then she marries Jerry, and she's in season 11 as well. But they don't do anything that interesting with her. And they do have that one scene, I think, in season 10, which is like, where's my babies? It's like, oh, fuck me. A person finally acknowledges their children. But, yeah. Natanya, I think, is kind of do I say she's garbage? She annoys me, but I don't know if I quite say she's garbage. I'm just going to put her in meh, though. The very bottom of meh, because I just don't care. And I'm glad that they killed her off. It was probably the right decision just to kill her off and just get rid of her. Okay, we've got Neil. Neil is top tier, okay? What was the line he says? Hell yeah, or whatever it is, where he basically he's like he's with the savior, going to the savior convoy, and then he gets shot by Simon. Yeah, all right. Unironically, really cool guy. Okay, he's like the woodworker guy for the hilltop. He does show up in the background, but people used to like making the jokes that they killed the cameraman off because no one recognized him. If that's Neil, this is N. I barely recognize this guy. I just don't recognize him. I generally don't recognize him. Someone's going to have to inform me. Nora, probably unironically kind of should have been cut because again they set her up as like, oh, this is Michonne's friend. She's part of the council. Never shows up again. Don't do anything with her. I hate when that happens. We have Norris. This is just a meh. He's kind of there. He's one of the people in the prison who gets bitten. He gets bitten by his own son, and then he dies. We got Norris, the savior. Pretty meh. I mean, he's there. He shows up a lot, but there's nothing like special about him, so I can't put him any higher. O'Donnell, very mean cop who's not very nice to Dawn, and she gets pushed down an elevator shaft. I think, unironically, he was decent, but they don't really set up his like content for Dawn in like an earlier episode. It kind of comes out of nowhere, and then he gets evil. Olivia, unironically, solid. Okay, I like how like Olivia starts off as like a little minor character, and they start giving her like more to do. And then like the scene where she runs out during No Way Out, the battle for Alexandria, and she helps kill the zombies. That was pretty cool. And I feel like like Olivia as a character, she's just there's something about her. I mean, she slaps Negan. That was pretty badass, right? And then she gets killed by a rat. Very sad. But I liked her like a little arc, right? Oscar. Oh, fuck me. I really wish Oscar stayed around for longer. He's my favorite out of Axel and him. I mean, like I like Axel, but I feel like they don't do anything like. I feel like Oscar was a lot more interesting. It's the scene where he kills like Andrew for Rick. Like he decides like, all right, fuck it, I'm gonna go for you. And the fact like Axel like begs for his life, but Oscar's like, I ain't gonna beg for my fucking life, all right? I just there's something I love about Oscar. So he's a solid, and I really wish he stayed around for longer. We've got Oscar too. I think this guy's called Oscar as well, is he not? I think he's called Oscar. Yeah, he's just decent. He shows up. He gets like a throwing knife, I think, in him from a whisperer, right, in season 10. Very sad, but he's decent. He's there for a while. Otis, unsung hero. He's a solid ass character, right? He does get killed by Shane. Very sad, but I like him. Owen, I think he's decent. I think he's a little cringe, and I feel like he was maybe miscast because he's not like that intimidating. But I think again, as like a mini villain, he's fine. Again, I don't know. I would not put this guy in minor. What's going on, Red Love and Cola? We've got Ozzy. Ozzy's pretty cool. Actually, no. Wait, fuck this. No. Okay, Highwaymen never should have been a thing. All right, Alfred. This is he was called Alfred. I think. I swear he's called Alfred. Anyway, I'm talking about the other one. Sorry, I'm going on a tangent here. Highwaymen should never have been a thing. Ozzy was set up as like a pretty cool badass guy, only to like add for more heads. Like they introduced the Highwaymen just so they could have like more heads on pikes, and that annoys me because the Highwaymen like amount to jack shit, right? The Highwaymen come, the leader gets killed. The second in command, Alec, well, I guess I don't know if he is the second in command, but another one of them gets killed. So we're left with no named savior, no named highwaymen, sorry. And the next season we have Margot and Alfred show up as two highwaymen to cause some like ruckus. Margot gets killed, and then Alfred just dies anyway. Like it felt like they didn't do anything. Like the highwaymen could have been cut ultimately. And although I like Ozzy as a character, I feel like he's kind of cool and he's got like this aura to him. It's fucking stupid that he gets dismantled because he wants to see a movie. Like that is kind of dumb. Although it's kind of funny, it's dumb as well. Like it's really dumb. It extracts some of the realism out of the show. Okay, can we acknowledge that at least? And like he's cool, but like fuck me, it's stupid. And he could have been cut. Like the highwaymen were literally there just to add, like heads on pikes. Patricia's gonna go into the decent. She's a bit better than Jimmy because she didn't like cussing. She kills the chicken. She's kind of there. Like I feel like she does a bit more than Jimmy. I don't even know. Maybe I just put him there. But I don't really care that much for her. She gets eaten. Patrick. This is another like one episode character. Yeah, I think he was really cool. I'm gonna put him as solid. Like the bottom is solid because he's kind of like that the innocence of the prison as well. And of course, he's the first person to die from the flu. And he shows up again during the flashback in A. Yeah, I like him overall. Paul is just a meh. He's a savior, not savior. He's a Woodbury guy who gets mad at the governor and then gets shot and killed by the governor during his massacre. Percy is I like Percy. Okay, he's kind of funny. He pretends to have a coughing attack to help out Beth, and he gets bullied as well by O'Donnell for not doing the buttons correctly. Very poor old man. I hope that he survived the hospital, the fall of the hospital, because Percy's a legend. We've got Pete Dolgan, Mitch's brother. Yeah, I think he's a pretty solid character. I feel like he's characterized like really well. Like he is just trying his best after Martinez's death. He is like got a really kind heart, and the governor obviously sees that and knows that he wouldn't be a great leader because he's too nice. He would never be like ruthless, right? To help the group out. So the governor executes him and then like makes like a little fish tank out of him. Very, very sad. We have Pete Anderson. Honestly, unironically, I'm just going to put decent because, like, he's there. He's an asshole. Rick hates him. They have their fight. But, like, there's nothing that special about him, right? There's nothing, like, crazy. He's just kind of there. Potter should have been cut. No. I'm just going to put meh. Because, like, I like him. He seems like a cool guy. He's one of the workers. But then they set him up in Season 9. He never shows up again. A bit annoying. He kind of disappears after the fall of the Sanctuary. So maybe he died, who knows. And then we got this P. This is Powell. He's one of the Reaper guys. I just don't care for them. We've got Primo. He's the savior guy. I'm not going to put him on the same level as these women, but I do like how he kind of crosses over. So I'll put him as decent. And he gets executed. Rachel, garbage. I hate Rachel. She's annoying, and then she does nothing after. When she grows up and she sort of chills the fuck out, she kind of like, she doesn't amount to much, right? She barely shows up. Randall, as a moral dilemma, great character. Seems kind of like he was a good kid, and then obviously he gets in with the bad group of people. We don't know if he did bad things, but I don't know. He seemed like a nice guy, right? Before the fall, okay. He went to school with Maggie, for Christ's sake. I don't know. We've got Reg Monroe, unironically cool architect guy, really cool, chill energy, love it. Very sad he died. We've got Regina. I'm just gonna decent. They set her up, and it's kind of cringe how she's like, "I'm Negan." Like they're like, which one are you? Rick's like, "Okay, who are you? I know you. I know you. I know you. Wait, which one are you? You're a new character. Can you identify?" She goes, "Regina. My name's Regina." And then Regina kind of dies, but doesn't die at the end of season 8. And then she comes back. She's got a limp in season 9, and then she's a part of like Jeb's little savior group. But then she's following him, even though she was a lieutenant, and he was never shown to be a lieutenant. Yeah, a bit annoying, but I'm just gonna put her in decent. They again, like, they set her up and she didn't really amount to much. Regina, this is Riley. Garbage, because this guy wasn't even in the like, if you look at the background characters, he wasn't even in the prison pen. He wasn't one that was set up at all, and then he shows up in that fucking diner, and then Rick kills him. But that's like, were they just there meeting up with the saviors? Like, who is this motherfucker? That annoys me. As someone who's obsessed with like background characters and counting them all, he especially annoyed me because he just comes out of nowhere. We got Richard. Richard is a solid ass character, very tragic. Obviously, all its entire motivation is to motivate the kingdom into going to war with the saviors, because obviously he saw what happened with his daughter and how, like, when he didn't do anything, she died, and he wants to protect the saviors and keep them safe as the kingdomers and keep them safe. I'm gonna have a drink, sorry, because my voice is going. I need some hydration. Okay, yeah. So Richard, he wanted to help the kingdom out and all that, and you know, Morgan says, like, why don't you give up your? No, Daryl says to him, why don't you get what? He goes, I die for the kingdom. Daryl says, why wouldn't you? Why don't you then? And so he does. He's willing to, but then they kill Benjamin. So then Morgan kills him. So he does still die for the kingdom. Very sad. This guy is Sandhorn. Is this guy called Sandhorn? I don't remember. I just don't care. He is literally just a red shirt. Garbage. Actually, David Gevitt's just a meh. Okay, I don't know if I hate David that much. We've got Rodney. He's just gonna go indecent. Same with Addy. He's there. He serves his purpose, and then he's ahead. He's ahead on a pike. Roman, I like him as like a mini sort of character going after Carol. I'm just gonna put him decent. Yeah, I think he's pretty cool. We've got Roman Calhoun, who is like one of Lance's guys. Yeah, I like this guy, and I think his death off screen is fine because obviously it was like a reveal for Lance, so that was acceptable. Yeah, he seemed like he seemed to just be a plumber, but he wasn't a plumber. He was actually working for Lance, and Eugene was right. Obviously, this conspiracy was happening. Yeah, I unironically like him a lot. This one was called, like, I don't know, he was like one of the commanders. I forget his name, but I do recognize his face. Daryl shoots him in the head in season 11. He's a Commonwealth guy. Just meh, because again, they don't set him up or anything really. We got Rowan. Should have been cut. Okay, Rowan's like a weird character. She kind of annoys me because they show her as like being in bed with the governor. So like, oh, she's the governor's girlfriend. I guess it's like just this fuck buddy because she's never like mentioned again, even though she does show up in the background here and there. And then Andrea starts like very publicly banging the governor, right? And I feel like Woodbury knows about that, right? And then Rowan's just like doesn't have anything to say about it. And then Rowan just disappears. Okay, very annoying. We have Roy. Yeah, I like how this guy like shows up in season 9, or I think it was season 9, right? And then shows up again in season 11 just to die. I unironically kind of like that, which is kind of funny. At least that they brought someone that they showed like in the past. So I'm gonna go solid. And plus he's like, you know, go for my save my kids, man. This is the Roy, the veggie savior. Kind of cringe. He does have a beanie to make him recognizable, though. I'm just gonna go with meh. Okay, he's recognizable, but he's a little bit cringe. This one is, what was that guy called again? I think this guy's called Rudy, right? Rudy. He's a savior who gets gunned down by Carol. I mean, listen, he shows up. He's an arsehole for no reason, and then he gets gunned down by Carol. He wasn't set up before, okay? So, unironically, kind of garbage, okay? He shouldn't even have had a name. No, I'm going to just put him in meh. Russ. This guy shows up alive again during so he dies during the flashback he's killed by Jocelyn's group, but he actually shows up in the future, so he actually gets resurrected. This guy is Jesus, because they fucked up in terms of like what extra to kill off, because obviously the filming order of that flashback episode was after the episode where Russ was shown to be alive. So I actually unironically kind of love that, and so that is that's a little bit annoying. So maybe it gets bumped down just to decent, but I do kind of like it at the same time. It's kind of funny. Ryan Samuels is just a decent, because he's there to make that promise to Carol, look after my daughters, and then of course Carol ends up killing one of them. So very funny. But in a sense, this guy is the TV version of Alan. Okay, this is TV Alan, right? This is not this fucking bozo. This is TV Alan right here. We got Sam. I like Sam. I'm just gonna put him in decent though. He shows up. He's pretty naive, but he's a jolly good man. All right, he's having a laugh. He gets his arm put back in place, and then he shows up again at the terminus where he's gutted. Now this woman is, I think she's Alexandrian. She shows up a lot. She's one of those like regular background characters, but I do barely recognize her, to be honest. Actually, no, I do recognize her, but I'm just gonna go with meh, because she doesn't really do anything. She doesn't have lines. She didn't do anything. There's nothing interesting that interesting about her. She's going there. We have Gabe's friend. This is the DJ Khaled lookalike, the guy who obviously is like makes fun of Andy. Yeah, I think he's fine. He's fine. He goes with his friend. We have Scott. Okay, Scott. Now, I know I said Barbara is top tier because she survived from season 5 all the way to season 11, and technically Scott did, but Scott doesn't show up enough to earn the place. So Scott's going to go into solid, okay? Because Barbara shows up in season 11. I don't think Scott does at all, and Scott just doesn't show up that much. I mean, Scott actually has like a fair few lines, though. I do like Scott, but he's not as interesting as Barbara, in my opinion. We've got Shelley Neunemeyer. So Shelley Neunemeyer really likes her pasta. She really wants a pasta making machine. And so for that, she gets solid. And she is also a smoker. And Carol says those things will kill you. And while she's out smoking, she gets killed. And unironically, that was pretty fucking funny. Shumpert. So this Shumpert is the governor's guy. He does die off screen, which is a bit annoying. But listen, Shumpert is played by Travis Love. Okay? And Travis Love follows me on Twitter. And he also pinned my video as his top Twitter or X video, okay? So, listen, Travis Love, I love Travis Love because he loves my video on Shumpert, and I love Shumpert. So, Shumpert tier is a thing, okay? And this is top tier. We've got Dr. Stephen Edwards. I think he's decent. It's a bit annoying that he's set up to be like this character and then he just kind of disappears and that's it for him. That's a bit annoying. Sturgis. This is like one with Barnes. Like he's there, he runs off and then they find him later and he's been devoured. A bit annoying, unironically. I think like they could have combined these two into one and that would have been better. But yeah, he runs off. They find him dead. Not as well established as like David was, right? Tamiel. So this is the person who follows Rick back to Alexandria, kidnaps Gabriel, and then eventually she deals with the scavengers thing. I just don't get it. She's a meh. She's a meh. She can go with the other scavenger henchman, Brion. We've got Tanya, who obviously was a chef. She cooks Eugene's horrible fucking macaroni, disgusting ass pasta thing. And then she disappears and never shows up again. Very annoying. This is a Commonwealth guy. I honestly barely recognize him. This is she called No, she's not called Tabitha. What is she called? She might actually be called Tabitha. I don't remember. No, that's the goat. What is this woman called? I forget her name. She's a kingdomer anyway. She shows up. Tommy does surgery on her because Ezekiel helps her out. I like that she was like a recurring character. So for that, she gets decent. Okay. We've got also she was seen in the crowd when like Daryl and that were running away from the Commonwealth capturing. Like she's just seen like walking in the crowd, like nothing, like everything's normal. But then later on, she's seen in the camps, I think. So that was really weird. Tim, obviously, like I was saying about the Governor's Men, I really like how they all have like sort of aesthetic. They all have like different weapons. They all feel like real people. And distinctive and different. Where the frick did I put Crowley? Here. So I'm going to put Tim there as well. We've got, oh god, should have been caught. This is Tina. She's there. She's got her thing. I guess it's like a means to an end though, so maybe I'll just put her in the meh. She's just so annoying, and the way she dies is so stupid. It's like one of the dumbest Walking Dead deaths ever. She obviously has the diabetes, and that's the reason why they leave the sanctuary, because obviously they wanted more medicine, and Negan was going to force her to marry Negan to get more medicine. So that makes sense. All of that makes sense, but yeah, it was just the way she goes is annoying. And then I feel like Tina's barely ever mentioned again by Dwight and Sherry, which is funny. Tobin is a top tier, obviously, because we all love Tobin. This guy, obviously, he managed to bang Carol. He's like the most deadly walker ever, like when he turns. And also he's like such a fun character to try and spot in the background. Tomas is like a really solid, like one episode, like mini villain. Although he's too cocky and too confident when it comes to Rick, because Rick just puts that motherfucking machete in his head. We've got Tommy. Tommy is Alexandrian. He kind of dies off screen. I'm just going to go with a meh for him. Don't really care that much. Yeah, very sad. Rick stabs him in the head. Very sad. Gone. Done. One and done. Tony. So I really like Dave, and I feel like Dave and Tony aren't as intimidating, if it's just one of them. I feel like both of them are that imposing force, and like Tony especially, because he's really dirty with how he talks, and like he pisses just in the bar as well. So I think like he's like the hostile, the what really like what adds the tension into that scene. So that's why I think he's gonna go there. This is Tyler Davis. I just don't care. He's like a meh. He was like set up, seemed like a bad guy, and then they no, he wasn't a bad guy. He beats. Wait, let me just. Okay, so Princess beats him up in that COVID episode, and then he captures. But it seemed to be all part of the. Actually, no, fuck this. It's actually gonna go in garbage. Okay, listen, this is why. So let's go through Tyler Davis's story. So in the COVID episode, Princess beats him up, and captures him. And then he gives all the arm. She eventually gives the armor back to Tyler Davis, and then he says, "All right, let's go" to his men, and throws the hood over Princess. So it seems to make it believe that it was part of the plan for him to be captured, right, by her. Because why would they just be standing there with the rest of the people in hoods, right, if they didn't know he was captured? So it seemed like it was part of the plan. And then it obviously wasn't part of the plan, because Tyler Davis was fired from the Commonwealth for getting beaten up by her. That was a bit weird. And then he's like the revolutionary. So it was so inconsistent. And then he shows up in like a fucking camp. Like the mystery of where is Tyler Davis is there for a bit. He shows up in a camp and then he gets shot. Who the fuck cares? Vickers. They don't really do much with her, just meh. I mean, she's like the leader of the Commonwealth army after Mercer gets arrested, and then yeah, she doesn't really pose any sort of threat. She's just a face. Vincent should have been caught, because I felt like that little thing with Judith like acting out makes sense, but I kind of would have liked it with like Herschel or something. If it happened with Herschel or with Gracie, with like a face we recognize. Because now we just throw in this kid Vincent for no reason. In my opinion, it's canon that this is Roy's son. Okay, they throw in Vincent, kid we've never seen before, and he never shows up again. The Warden, kind of meh. They set up this villain. He's kind of like imposing a little bit, but they set him up, even though we don't need another villain being set up at all. But they set one up anyway for the Commonwealth concentration camps, I guess. And yeah, he's intimidating, I guess, and then Rosita kills him. But it felt like we spent like 3 episodes or 2 episodes on this guy, only to kill him off. Anyway, very annoying. Washington, a Reaper guy. Again, they're all going in there. Okay, Wayne Dunlap, the chief. Okay, this is a top tier meme. I can't lie. So it's gonna go there. And my video is like blowing up. My video on Wayne Dunlap that I did before Wayne Dunlap was even like a meme, is like blown up. So unironically, he's a top tier meme. So he's a top tier character. Paul Wells, he gets his head put in a jar. Pretty sad. He's gonna go there. We got Paul. Well, no, that's not Paul Wells. This is Paul Wells. Or Paul something. He's a Reaper guy. Anyway, Wells was just Wells. God, Wesley, Hilltop guy, gets killed. Not that distinctive. Goes next to Oscar. Who cares? We've got Captured Whisperer. This guy was kind of mean, okay? I'm just going to put decent there. He gets tortured. Then he gets killed by Dante. Pretty sad. We've got Wilson. He's the train guy. It's pretty cringe. It's pretty wild. He's like, no, you can't. They're gonna hurt me if and he just stabs himself. Oh, so weird. Winnie, I mean, she runs off, never shows up again. Very, very annoying. Felt like a setup, but again, she never shows up again. So, bit of a tease. Yargo, he's gonna go in just the meh because they didn't. He's not a savior that's set up. He's like. Seems like he could be intimidating, but he isn't that intimidating. And Zia goes into I did say, wasn't I saying before that I'm going to put any saviors that want to set up in garbage? Yeah, I guess I'll put them in garbage then. And Zia goes there as well, but because obviously she's there with Leo. Yeah, Yargo goes in there. Garbage. Yeah, Winnie. Zach. Okay, Zach. Unironically, top tier minor character because Zach dies, even though he's like a minor character. He dies in episode 1 of season 4. And then he sort of is mentioned constantly. Like his death has meaning, even though he's like a minor character. Like the audience doesn't give a shit about. He actually like shows up throughout the whole of the season, like through mentions. Like they drive the car that they get overrun in after Tyrese does the killing all the zombies. That's Zach's car, and they mentioned like Zach's death and how it's affected them and all that. And obviously Beth mentioned Zach because it was her boyfriend. So yeah, unironically, I really like Zach's inclusion because he's sort of, yeah, his death actually had an impact. And so he's like one of those minor characters that I think I really respected, and I think the show really respected. So he's going to go there. And then finally, Bob Adams, obviously a member of Woodbury. We never see him, but he's a top tier too, obviously. Yeah, fuck it. All right, and I added Bob Adams. He wasn't in the tier list. I added that. Anyway, fuck me. This video is very long. It's gone over. It was meant to be much shorter than this. I'm rambling. I'm going crazy right now. Goodbye.